sitting at 5-0, a half game back of Indiana. They could be 6-0 with the Hoosiers, who have won 11 straight games. Maryland is a half game back, one back in the loss column. Iowa takes on Maryland next Thursday from the Xfinity Center. Iowa and Rutgers meeting for the second time as Big Ten foes, third meeting all time. DJ Karstensen, Donnie Epley, John Gaffney, veteran officiating crew on the floor tonight for this matchup. DJ Foreman, Adam Woodbury up for the tip. It's the Hawkeyes who control. Only 3 losses this season by a combined 12 points. Top 10 of the RPI, number 9 in the nation. Checking in, they've won 7 in a row since that heartbreaking 1-point loss in Ames against Iowa State. Woodbury in the post against Greg Lewis, an excellent defender. He's able to take it away, and here comes Rutgers. Iowa turned it over just 4 times in their victory against Michigan on Sunday, and that's their first turnover in about half an hour of basketball. Meanwhile, Rutgers struggling. They upset number 4 Wisconsin here at the rack last January. They've lost 22 straight games against Big Ten foes ever since. Coming off their worst ever home loss, 50-point loss against Purdue. Mike Williams trying hard for a second chance, but it's picked up by Anthony Clemens, who gives to Peter Jock, who breaks the scoring seal. Peter Jock finally finding his stroke in his junior season. He gets Iowa on the board first. Change in the Rutgers starting lineup as they bring in Omari Greer off the bench. Mike Williams is back in the starting lineup for the Scarlet Knights. Another Rutgers turnover, and here comes Jock ahead of the field, and he's got all 5 Hawkeye points. How does Rutgers stay in this game early? They want to feel a sense of pride, and they want to feel engaged early on.
Well, they can't do it by taking shots too quickly. That'll just produce runouts for this Iowa team that likes to get out and run.
Corey Sanders is the leading freshman scorer in the Big Ten, 3 in black. Watch out for him tonight. He's had some monster games this year. Utah from deep, and it's all black underneath for the Scarlet Knights on the board. Here is DJ Foreman, the sophomore, sliding under Utah, unable to finish one close to the rim.
And Coach Jordan talked about in the last game they played how they missed some easy bunnies right around the basket that could have made an 11-0 game into sort of 12-12.
On the push, it's Gazelle. He and Anthony Clemens, basically 2 point guards on the floor at once for a Hawkeye team that rarely turns it over. Woodbury left it short. Iowa a little bit cold to start tonight. Well, there's a rebound for the Hawkeyes. That was the biggest problem for Rutgers against the sizable Purdue Boilermakers. They were out-rebounded by 40. Why would you leave Peter Jock alone? That's another 3 and a timeout for Eddie Jordan. He's probably going to ask his guys that same question.
And you take a look at Peter Jock. This is a guy who can make shots as long as his feet are set. He doesn't have to follow through. He's a brilliant shooter. And you cannot leave a guy who can make shots like that wide open.
He's got all 8 Iowa points coming off his first career Big Ten Player of the Week honor. 23 points in the second win over Michigan State, and then 16 points against Michigan. He's been red hot from 3. And he's been a nice compliment as the second leading scorer to Jared Uthoff, who's leading the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten at 18.5 points per game. He's part of our Wendy's Wooden Watch.
And Jared Uthoff is a player that is both old school and new school. He's got great athleticism, but he's also got a calmness about his game. He's a great passer, can hit pull-up mid-range jump shots as well as threes, and he can get to the basket and finish with authority.
Adam Woodbury comes over to tip it away, and Williams able to tiptoe the sideline and keep it.
And Iowa comes out in their 1-2-2 trap that caused Purdue a lot of problems when Iowa was down big at the half.
Jock missed the 3. Williams breaking out. Good feed by Bishop Daniels to get Rutgers on the board.
Well, it's great to see Rutgers get on the board, but this kind of pace with their personnel is going to be tough.
Woodbury to the rim. Good feed by Gazelle. And Adam Woodbury at 7'1" will go to the free throw line.
And you know, Adam Woodbury is a great story because he's 7'1", and people are always on him about not dunking the basketball. And when you take a look at Adam, he's tall, he's got a long neck and shoulders, but his arms are short for a 7'1" guy, which makes it harder for him to dunk when he finishes. But he's got an assortment of nice, tricky shots around the basket, reverse layups and such that are really fun to watch.
And it was funny because the last time these two teams met, that was the game, the Iowa-Rutgers game in Iowa City, where Woodbury had 3 or 4 dunks in that game. And fans were like, see, he can do it.
Yeah, right.
Fran McCaffrey's not worried about it, though. Woodbury's been solid so far. Here's Omari Greer, came in off the bench. He's a very solid shooter. He's been starting pretty much most of the season, the last 13 games. He's going to come in off the bench tonight. Here's Jock. They rotated to a wide-open Peter Jock, and after 2 years of not being able to make shots, this kid has found the three-point stroke.
Well, he spent the summer in the lab, as they say, working on his craft, and that shot is beautiful.
He's got 11 of the 13 for the Hawkeyes, who lead it by 11 early.
Well, I want to see if he can make some contested shots.
Right. I mean, they're leaving him wide open. It's been a great season for the Iowa Hawkeyes so far. They're 5-0 in the Big Ten. Already, they've beaten Michigan State twice. They've beaten Purdue. Big game against Maryland coming up. Solid year.
They're on time. They're solid dudes. And they have a goal in mind, and that's to win the Big Ten.
They have not had a 6-0 start in Big Ten play since the 1986-87 season. So it's been quite some time to see this type of early success for the Iowa Hawkeyes in conference play. Obviously, they're 5-0 for the first time since 96-97.
Wow, those dates, I could play back then.
And you and Fran actually went against each other a couple times back in the Ivy League days, as Anthony Clemens has his first 2 of the night.
And Adam, you pointed out earlier how Iowa's got 2 point guards playing. You know, folks out there don't realize what a benefit that is. You can have either one of these guys bring the ball up.
I really love watching Corey Sanders play. That shot didn't go down, but man, he gets his own shot. This kid's going to be fun to watch the next year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, he's going to be good, and he's got a good head on him. He said in the media here in New Jersey how, you know, they're not, as a team, bummed out about the losing. They knew it's going to take a little time.
They're a little bit more disappointed that they're just not moving and learning together as fast as they want, but that's the goal right now for Rutgers, which is an injury-ravaged team this year. We'll talk about that as the game goes on. Good idea by Woodbury. The execution of the pass wasn't very good to Utah, and an Iowa turnover. Already 2 after only 4 against Michigan on Sunday. Now again, those all came in the first 11 minutes, and they really cleaned up the game after that.
Now you can see coming out of that first media timeout, Rutgers is doing a little bit more ball movement, a little bit more people movement before they attack.
Sanders got a chance to go one-on-one against Gazelle, but well defended by the senior out of Sioux City. South Sioux City kid in Gazelle. You got the Sioux City kid in Woodbury. Here's Jock from West Des Moines. Step back 2. Ball didn't seem like it came out of his hand clean.
Well, we've been singing his praises. He made an easier shot harder by taking the pump fake and dribble. The defenders fell on the ground. He didn't need to pump fake. Just let that thing go.
Woodbury the hedge out on the perimeter against Williams, who patiently slips the defense, then goes back into Woodbury. Foreman got it blocked by the leading blocker in the Big Ten in Utah, but the excellent second effort by DJ Foreman gets him 2 and a foul.
Well, the fight in this Rutgers Scarlet Knight team hasn't left the building. It's great to see. They are going after what they can get. You had DJ Foreman down there hustling and getting an and one. Corey Sanders down on the other end here on defense, diving for a ball.
You want to see life. If you're a Rutgers fan, and I know it's been a tough year for Eddie Jordan in his 3rd season, obviously such a long history with this great program in this great school in a basketball-rich area, but it's been a tough season for Rutgers and for their fans. Here's Nicholas Bayer, the redshirt freshman, misses a three. Well, Rutgers pushing.
Adam, you know how much I like doing this, and part of the reason is I get to see a lot of these teams have practice, and I've seen Rutgers play a lot, and their practices are still very spirited. Everybody's got a goal in mind. Eddie's a great coach. No, I think given the right amount of time, he's going to be able to get this program going.
Adam Woodbury just picked up his second foul, and that's when Iowa does have some issues, when Woodbury has to go to the bench with early foul trouble. So not even 7 minutes in, he's out. Brady Ellingson is in for Iowa as well. He's seen his minutes go down a little bit as the season goes on. And it's a 2-3 look here for Iowa in the zone.
Well, if there's one Achilles heel for Iowa, it would be their depth. And they're pleased with they're very pleased with what their bench has been doing. But it's thin. And at any moment, if somebody gets in foul trouble, two guys get in foul trouble, it's a completely different team.
Dom Ewell picks up the foul for Iowa. The minutes have started to settle in for Iowa. They've started to find their rotation as the season has gone on, because Fran McCaffrey was playing 10 guys, it felt like, early in the season, and he lost Dale Jones to injury as well, so that's a big loss. But the minutes are starting to find their rhythm as well. Off the inbound, Greg Lewis, who's been banged up a little bit as of late with a knee issue, scores, and Rutgers is within 6. Here is Utah in traffic. Bayer out to Dom Ewell, who spent 2 years playing on the Jersey Shore in high school. It is out of bounds to the Hawkeyes.
You're absolutely wrong, okay?
Hustle plays like those Rutgers wants to cash in on. They get Iowa to miss a shot. Dom Ewell, the local kid, misses a jump shot. You have to get that rebound.
Here's Bayer, open again. Can't connect, though. There goes Utah, using his length to fly in for the board, and a smooth-looking shot for the leading scorer in the Big Ten. His first two, 993 career points now for Utah, closing in on 1K.
He sure is fun to watch.
Yeah. Shot clock down to 8. This is something Coach talked about. He wants to see a little bit of a slower tempo for Rutgers. Williams cracks a 3. Lewis the offensive rebound. So they got out-rebounded by 40 on Sunday, granted against a much bigger team. But they're hitting the glass pretty hard so far tonight.
And smart of Greg Lewis to bring the ball back and get another setup.
There's the layup for Omari Greer off the second chance. Rutgers is within 6 again. There's Gazelle. Bayer will pass up after missing a couple of shots from the outside. Greer covering Utah. Such a tough assignment for anybody in the conference. Tipped by Sanders, saved to Williams. Good effort from Rutgers early in this game.
Very good energy.
And a foul called against the Hawkeyes on the floor. So Rutgers playing well, but Iowa's still doing it. And Jared Utah, the leading scorer, gets on the board early.
The Wooden Award candidate, Jared Utah, with a little bit of a fadeaway. Scorer like Iowa that has a Wooden Award candidate like Jared Utah, it's nice to have someone like Peter Jock who can get you 20, 24 every now and then, so your stud doesn't have to feel that pressure all the time.
And Jock, a guy who's touted as a great shooter out of high school, and rightfully so, did not have the stroke in his first couple of years, and he's shooting nearly 40% from downtown this season. Iowa settles back into that zone. Ahmad Wagner is in the middle of the back line. He comes over to guard Lewis and fouls him. And Greg Lewis is going to go to the free throw line. Only player for Rutgers this season, Greg Lewis, that has started all 20 games this season.
And Greg's a terrific story. He's a graduate student here working on his master's degree. Terrific kid, terrific family.
Cousin of former Celtic Reggie Lewis. redshirt senior out of Baltimore. Dealt with a knee injury a few years back. Mike Williams comes up. Bishop Daniels is back in. And Jonathan Laurent, the freshman out of Orlando, has checked into the game for the first time. He's missed the last 4 games with a concussion, part of an injury-ravaged Rutgers lineup this season. There is Laurent, 3-star recruit out of high school. He's back in the lineup tonight. He practiced yesterday and still isn't in shape, but he's going to get minutes tonight to get him going. They're missing 3 front court players. That's part of the reason they've had so many rebounding issues. Utah in the post, left it short, well defended by Laurent, who was in the mix there.
And that's why they like Laurent. He's deceptively long.
Sanders got the step, lost the handle, and still recovered for the 2. And Rutgers is back within 3. A 10-2 run for the Scarlet Knights. Jock. Daniels was closing. Jock got a decent look off, and Greer is there for the rebound. Rutgers can tie it with a 3 halfway through the first.
Now they cannot leave their game plan. Keep working the ball around. Make Iowa guard on the road.
Laurent, good cut by Greer. It's a 1-point game. You said it, Coach. The energy is there tonight for Rutgers, and Iowa didn't want to get shell-shocked by what Rutgers is doing early. Good cut that time on the other end. And a good finish by Anthony Clemens on the bare feed.
And what do you do when you're on the road? You have your senior guard and Anthony Clemens pick on the freshman guard, Corey Sanders, with a backdoor cut.
Laurent at the rim on the alley-oop and the feed from Greer. And those are the first points of 2016 for Jonathan Laurent. The Scarlet Knights are 6 for their last 7 from the floor. Meanwhile, Iowa 1 for its last 9 until now. Ahmad Wagner becomes the 5th Hawkeye to score the 21 points. Now we're starting to see some pace, some flows. Good stuff for the first 11 minutes. A lazy pass, and Peter Jock picked off the Sanders feed. That was a terrible pass, and Jock was just waiting for it.
Adam, you can't say anything nice. As a coach, as soon as you say something nice about your team, and they throw the ball away for a dunk.
Sanders trying to make up for it and gets the friendly roll defended by Clemens. So Sanders, the leading freshman scorer in the conference, has 6.
That was a very gutsy move by Sanders, going right at the senior Clemens.
Here's Jock, and he'll go to the free throw line. Let's also say Rutgers has had some good first halves this year, too. They played Indiana tooth and nail in the first half. They were tied with a team that's now won 11 in a row.
Absolutely.
And Ohio State, they led Ohio State at halftime by 2 before getting blown out in the second half. They've had some good stretches of basketball offensively this year.
And part of that is fatigue. You get tired in the second half when you're really playing hard and you don't have many substitutions. But another part of that is inexperience at the point guard position. But Corey Sanders is going to be very good, and he's already shown improvement since the last time we've seen him.
Jock has 14. He's already above his season average. Dynamite last 3 games for Peter Jock. Daniels, the bounce to Lewis. Utah the block. The second effort by Laurent. And the tip in by Bishop Daniels. Utah quickly at the other end, almost lost it. And he ended up traveling, slid on the deck with it. And an Iowa turnover forced by this Rutgers pace.
He would have been all right had he stayed on his knees, but he tried to get up.
Yeah, he was trying to do too much with it at that point. He'll get a breather right before the media timeout. Fran McCaffrey told us you can't show up in this conference, and he's absolutely right. And I know it's easy to look at Rutgers 229 RPI and say, well, we're going to cruise. You can't show up in this league on the road and just expect to win. And Fran McCaffrey knew that.
Right, and it's not like I was playing.
No, not at all. Just Rutgers just played really well. Daniels ties the game at 24. It's not a big crowd tonight at all at the rack, but it's getting lively now, finally. Here's Wagner. Got Lewis in the air. Great move by the freshman from Ohio. And he puts Iowa back on top. Rutgers trailed by 11 at one point in this game. Here's Sanders for the lead. Around and out. And it's rebounded by Clemens. Gazelle in midair finds Jock. Yule's open. A Germany native and former Jersey resident can't put it down. 7 to play, first half. Daniels against Clemens. Lawrence, not a very good three-point shooter, and he makes the right decision. Wait till later in the clock. Oh, that's a great angle on the feed by Sanders to find Lewis. That's not an easy pass, and he made it. Tie game. Clemens on the exchange, hits the three, and Iowa's up 29-26. Both teams looking good tonight in the first half.
We are getting to see some ball playing here before the winter wonderland.
Yeah, it's about to get very, very snowy here in the Northeast and down in the Mid-Atlantic. A lot of games are getting canceled and moved. These two teams staying hot. Here's Laurent. Good energy off the bench. Got his own miss and put it in. Love to see a kid coming back off an injury, a mild concussion for Laurent, missing 4 games and doing good things.
And Eddie Jordan and his staff have to be happy with the effort right now.
Gazelle left it short. Rutgers, which trailed by 11, has a chance for its first lead of the game. Next whistle will be the under-8 media timeout. Seen a lot of zone from Iowa. They stay in it. Rutgers not exactly an excellent three-point shooting team by any means, but Greer's good. Here's Daniels. And he's way off. He's only about 29% of the season.
And you can't miss that badly. That means you shouldn't have taken that shot.
He had space to do it, too. Here's Yule. And Donnie Epley will call a foul underneath the rim. It'll be against Bishop Daniels. Maybe the folks at home or maybe even the folks out west weren't expecting that close of a game, but Rutgers staying came by Eddie Jordan. And then Jonathan Laurent, who had just returned tonight after missing the last handful of games.
And Deshaun Freeman, clearly one of their
absolutely
better players, let alone scorers.
He was averaging double figures before he got injured. So that's what a combined, you saw it on the graphic there, a combined 48 games missed between 4 very talented guys. And the foot injuries and the knee injuries have just really thinned out what was supposed to be a high expectation having group for Eddie Jordan. Laurent was unable to corral that pass from the wing from Justin Good, redshirt freshman out of Virginia. So another Rutgers turnover.
Now, if I know Fran McCaffrey, and I do, this team's going to be ramped up coming out of this timeout.
Yeah.
So let's see how Rutgers handles it.
There's Gazelle, along with Clemens, Baer, Yule, and Jock. And Iowa turns it over again. It's now 5 turnovers, more for the Hawkeyes tonight than they had against Michigan in 40 minutes. Here comes Utah back into the game.
And Dom Ewell, who I love as a player, I really enjoyed watching him grow from his freshman to his sophomore year, playing in front of his home crowd. It is so hard to come back home and have a good game.
A Germany native played 2 years at Point Pleasant Beach down by the shore here in Jersey. And he's had 3 really good games in a row, all double figures for Ewell. Patient move by Williams, and Rutgers has its first lead of the night. 30-29 against top 10 Iowa. Here's Baer. He knew he was off target right from the start. Short and to the right. And here comes Rutgers.
Rutgers should stop shooting threes and keep going into the paint. 13 field goals have come in the paint.
Yep. Here's Laurent. Oh, he got into an impossible spot. That was good defense by Utah. And Gazelle snatches it. 3 on 2 for Iowa. Jock underneath, finishes strong against Justin Good and still draws the foul. 31-30 with a free throw coming for Iowa on the other side. But how about this Rutgers team taking a lead after trailing by 11 early? You said it. You want to see the penetration tonight, Coach. Mike Williams getting it done. He's got 4 for the Scarlet Knights. One of the biggest games of the season, all part of Big Monday on ESPN. And watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Peter Jock knocks down the free throw. He's got 17 points, and it's a 2-point lead for the Iowa Hawkeyes with 3:45 for the first. Still falling back into that zone.
Rutgers has been effective against this zone by getting the ball into the middle and then looking opposite. Right now they're outside. Nobody's in that Big Ten area.
They're right around foul line and down. Sanders so crafty with the shot clock winding down. There will be a shot clock violation. Ball didn't hit the rim. This is one of the few guys you really feel like on a consistent basis can get his own shot and break down a defender. That's what makes Corey Sanders fun to watch and pretty dangerous, but he's still young. Gazelle for Utah. Not a good pass. Some rare Iowa turnovers. Here comes Good, and he finishes with the left hand. Every Rutgers player that has played tonight has scored, and we're tied again. Good flash by Baer. Utah passes up on the easy three. So Clemens steps in, takes an elbow shot, and gets the roll. Those are the little decisions we talk about. Utah passing up a shot with 21 on the shot clock. You get a better look.
You know, this is such a fun team to watch play, and not just because of the ball movement, but because of the man movement.
Yeah.
When they're not in the play, they're always cutting, moving, trying to get open, trying to help someone else get open.
See if Rutgers can do some of that too. You want to see that to the Big Ten logo in the middle, right?
I want to see somebody get into that paint and then look to the opposite side.
Foreman spinning inside. Pretty finish with the left hand.
Or do that.
Or that. It's a paint touch.
That's right.
Utah for three. Knocks it down. Good looking shot for Jared Utah. Just his second bucket of the first half. He's got 5, and Iowa's back up by a triple.
And Coach Jordan is livid at his crew for celebrating too much and not getting back in transition.
That was a quick transition three, a rhythm three for Jared Utah. Rotated to Williams to try to answer. Utah's there to snatch it. Minute 40 for the first.
Message to the Scarlet Knights: stop shooting threes, keep going in the paint.
Look at the blow by Gazelle. Everything but the finish, but Baer kept it alive. But second effort there. Clemens will try again in the paint, and he'll get it to go on a foul. Foul against Corey Sanders.
It is so important not to let this Iowa team have more than one shot at a basket, because that's what happens. And anytime you want to get an open three or a drive right to the lane, get an offensive rebound. Makes it more easy, much easier.
So Sanders has to come off with his 2 fouls. Anthony Clemens with 13 points in that second win against Michigan State. Finishes it off. Jock and Clemens have combined for 29 of the 40 in the first half for the Hawkeyes.
And here we see the 1-2-2 trap that is very effective.
There's Jock off the Gazelle feed. Those two now have 31 of the 42. Well, Eddie Jordan, understandably, not happy about it. John Gaffney's actually going to go over to the monitor. Perhaps a technical foul here. Maybe hanging on the rim.
Did he think he hung on the rim?
It didn't seem like it at the time. Let's take another look here.
Oh,
yep, that's it.
I'll pull up.
I can see the hang on the rim there.
Peter Jock with a little chin up there, doing his Russell Westbrook impersonation.
So Mari Greer, a smooth shooter at the line for the Tech. He was pretty much feeling himself after the type of first half that Peter Jock has had. You can understand he's feeling it. But he does get tagged with a Tech with 66 seconds left. But he does have 18 points so far tonight. 23 against Michigan State, 16 against Michigan the last 2 games. Red hot from 3 during that stretch, and he's added onto it tonight.
They get their hands on so many balls.
That is Baer. The length of the guys in this trap and in this defense and on this zone, that's what caused it. So the redshirt freshman doing a great job on that sideline, and then it compounds with a Foreman foul.
And length isn't always measured in height. It's measured in wingspan. And all of these guys are long in the arms.
Gazelle to Utah. Utah couldn't finish, but he got a pretty open look, it felt like, in the post. Rutgers guys were a little late getting over to him. You can't really afford that against a guy like Utah when he posts up.
And for those of you out there who haven't seen much of Utah play, you might be thinking he's a little bit uninterested, but this is how this guy looks all the time. He's the new Iceman.
Yeah. That was a good screen by Peter Jock to open up Utah on the opposite block. Jared Utah, Mr. Basketball in the state of Iowa 4 years ago. Red shirts at Wisconsin. Transfers, has to sit out and pay his own way before going to a scholarship offer to another Big Ten team because it was interconference. There was some controversy with Bo Ryan and how that was handled at Wisconsin, but Utah's been a welcomed addition. And Utah has just 2 more points to go to hit 1,000 in his Iowa career. Lewis from the elbow. Offensive rebound for DJ Foreman. Rutgers has hit the offensive glass tonight. Shot clock is off for Iowa, which has a 7-point lead. And it was this late spurt that has gotten Iowa some cushion. Down to 5. Here's number 5. Clemens all the way inside, and he draws a foul with 2.7 to go.
Iowa's showing fantastic patience there at the end of the half here, and you expected him to wait for that last shot.
Yeah.
But Clemens saw a little bit of a hole there and just turned the corner.
Big first halves for Peter Jock and Anthony Clemens.
Here we go.
Clemens, high school teammate of Denzel Valentine. Man, how about that heartbreak last night? 2 games in a row. Valentine's had a shot to try to beat Wisconsin and Nebraska. Foreman will get that off. It'll count. And that will be how the first half comes to an end. Back and forth first half. Iowa led by 11 early. Rutgers took a lead in that first half. An 8-point Iowa cushion for the number 9 team in the country. Brendan Fitzgerald, Jason Capel, our ESPNU halftime. Boys, it's yours.
Ball into the paint, and every time they did that, something good happened.
Look at our Taco Bell game track, and let's go right to the bottom line of that. 28 paint points for Rutgers, and then 2 lines above that, 0 of 6 from 3-point range. That's to Craig's point. Meanwhile, Iowa had some turnover issues in that first half. A little bit surprising compared to, I mean, when you turn the ball over 4 times in a game against Michigan, granted, no, it's going to be hard to top that by any means. And right out of the gate, Mike Williams, who had 4 in the first half, puts down 2. Quickly gets Rutgers back within 6.
And to Iowa's defense, they were playing with an unusual lineup for most of that first half.
Remember, Woodbury got into some early foul trouble. Jock off the front rim.
Every time he shoots, it feels like it's going in.
Yeah. And you didn't feel that way the last 2 seasons, the first 2 seasons of his career.
Yeah, and if you're Rutgers, you have to get him run off of his shooting spot, which means don't let his feet get set. And as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't need his arms to be in a position or anything. He just needs his feet to be set.
Out of the gate, first 5 in the second half belong to the Scarlet Knights, and they're back within 3. That's their first bucket from outside on 7 tries. Good cut by Woodbury. Great feed by that second point guard on the floor, and Anthony Clemens.
The Iowa chemistry exudes from their offense. You see everybody sharing the ball, everybody moving, trying to get the other guy a basket.
High IQ team. Oh, into a tough spot when Bishop Daniels, and then just had nowhere to go with it. All he could do was try to find Foreman.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Bishop take that dribble in there, don't have anything, keep your dribble, back it out, set it up again.
Here's Utah. Good look, and he is now over 1,000 points for his career. That three puts him into double figures tonight as well. He's had double figures every game this season. 1,001 points in 2.5 years at Iowa. Sanders off the back rim. Jock's there for the rebound. Turned over by Jock. Williams all the way inside, and he got the friendly roll and a foul. He had 4 the first half. He's got 5 quickly here in the second of the first 2 minutes.
Well, you want to get off the schneid, you got to make hustle plays like that. Mike Williams sneaking in behind Anthony Clemens for the steal there.
Can't connect.
And if you're wondering why Rutgers is back, it's to prevent this.
Yep, that run out, and then Gazelle turns it over. This is just surprising. Listen, if you get 4 turnovers in a game, it's almost impossible to go back-to-back games with that. But Iowa's ball control has been so good all season. So any time that they start rushing or turning the ball over, you get a little bit panicked.
And it's so uncharacteristic with Mike Gazelle, too.
Absolutely. He's got a, what, 3.5 to 1 assist to turnover.
Precisely.
There's Lewis. Boy, that's a high arcing long, too, for Greg Lewis. The Rutgers back within 4. Good stop and go by Gazelle. Woodbury's there for the rebound in traffic. Right back to Gazelle. Utah from 3 again, and he might be getting going. Back-to-back threes for Jared Utah.
It is absolutely amazing how wide open their 2 shooters are. Utah and Jock.
Yeah. It feels like every time they grab the ball on the perimeter, and they've got 5 feet of space to shoot.
Don't help off.
Sanders worming his way inside, and he draws the foul.
Whenever you see a drive for the Iowa Hawkeyes, they are looking for that next pass, either in the corner or at the top of the key for a wide open 3.
And remember, that was off an offensive rebound, and Gazelle immediately is looking outside. I mean, this is what you were talking about.
Well, you and I were at shoot-around. They missed all of 4 shots during the entire shoot-around.
I mean, they look so sharp today in shoot-around. Rutgers was shooting pretty well today in shoot-around as well. You know, for coming off the worst home loss in school history, losing by 50, demoralizing loss against Purdue, and again, very oversized against an undermanned Rutgers team. They looked very energetic, I thought, in shoot-around, and very energetic, obviously, in the first half, too.
Well, this team is it really is a function of their coach, and he was very calm after the last game. I saw the press conference, and this team thus is calm.
Great play by Woodbury, stripping the basketball from Lewis underneath. Gazelle to Clemens. Good-looking pass, good-looking shot. And Anthony Clemens has 16. Another Gazelle assist. Sanders, the stop and go. Woodbury for the rebound. Utah has Clemens and Jock in the front court. Clemens again. Rutgers dodges one there, and now they push with numbers. Late feed to Sanders, well executed by Bishop Daniels.
Everybody in the rack thought he was going to shoot that. It was a great head fake.
Woodbury against Lewis.
I love that move.
He moves pretty deftly for a guy at 7'1" and 250 pounds. The senior is on his way to the line on the other side. Iowa with a 6-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mazda, Driving Matters, and Samuel Adams.
Age of 2 weeks old. He's had a kidney transplant from a deceased donor. He suffered from acute rejection of a transplanted kidney. He's had surgery to reimplant it. This kid is one of the bravest young kids you're ever going to meet. He's been around the Iowa team all season long. He was at shoot-around earlier today, traveling to Rutgers to see his favorite team play on the road. I mean, you know, I know you and I get caught up in a lot of the stats and numbers and all the basketball things. We got plenty of time to talk about that. We wanted to bring up this young man.
Yeah, and Fran and Margaret McCaffrey have just embraced this young man, as have the Iowa players. You should have seen him at practice yesterday. He's in the layup line, and all of the character of this team in watching them interact with this young fella, it was just heartwarming.
And they mess around with him too. Jared Utah, when Chris was going for a shot, slapped it back to midcourt, said, "Get it out of here, son." So they really like playing around with the young man, and it was nice to see in the midst of the hoops and the hoopla of what college basketball is, and as fun as it is, it was nice to see something like that. And we hope you guys at least are aware of what that young man's going through. Clemens finishes at the rim. It's a 10-point Iowa lead.
Iowa back to the 2-3 zone.
We saw most of the first half played in the zone. Sanders misses the 3, and Iowa's still struggling from the outside at 1 of 9.
And unfortunately for Corey Sanders, that shot plays into the hands of the Hawkeyes.
Christian Williams, the freshman from Decatur, Illinois. They wanted to get him some more time, Fran McCaffrey said. He's played in 1 Big Ten game so far, but he wanted to get him some more time. So Williams, 11 in yellow, getting some time off the bench. 11th game he's played in this year.
Yeah, and if this Iowa team is going to make some noise in the NCAA tournament, they're going to need the help of some of their bench players who haven't had as much experience.
Sanders on the foul. That's his 3rd. They lost Aaron White. You lose Gable Lashany. You lose Josh Oglesby from last year's team. So you got to fill some of these roles in. But you knew the starting 5. You knew the upperclassmen were going to get some starts. You knew you had some guys that were able to score off the bench. But you want to get to around 9 or 10 once you get to about March, just for a little bit of safety. You want 8 in the main rotation, but you still want 9 or 10 to be able to lean on.
Because you're one twisted ankle away from being a different team.
I was just thinking of pace, and you're absolutely right. It's another thing to think about is injury. Iowa's been lucky outside of Dale Jones to be healthy otherwise. How about Bishop Daniels leaning in for a tough floater? He's got 6. Williams leads the Scarlet Knights with 11. Jock had 19 in the first half to lead the Hawkeyes. He has not scored in the second half. He's not on the floor currently. Utah again. Good again from the outside. He's knocked down 3 in the second half from 3-point range. 4 threes in the game for Utah.
I tell you, if I'm a general manager in the NBA and I got a 2nd-round pick, I'm looking really hard at Jared Utah.
And Mike Gazelle hasn't scored. 9 assists the other night for Mike Gazelle. Nice move by Laurent. Stepped around the slower Woodbury for the easy 2. And Laurent in his first game back after missing a handful with a concussion has 6. Utah had space. Instead, they throw 2 passes for a good look for Gazelle. Can't knock it down, but it was a good decision. And unfortunately for Rutgers, despite the great effort by Lewis for the rebound, he travels. Jock and Ewell are in. Gazelle and Williams come out for Iowa. Mike Williams comes out for Eddie Jordan. And Greer's back on. You'll see Indiana against Northwestern on Saturday in the Big Ten on ESPNU. You'll see Michigan, Nebraska. Nebraska coming off that win against Michigan State. How about the effort by Siobhan Shields? I mean, that guy was just a stud last night.
When I was coaching, I tried to recruit Siobhan Shields because I think people talk about Ben Simmons being a poor man's Magic Johnson. Siobhan Shields is the same type of player, just not as tall. He does a little bit of everything.
He hit the big go-ahead shot late on top of a fantastic game. So right around from that area that Utah just shot from, couldn't make it. Sanders, how about the speed of this guy? If he can have that speed with that rim control, that's a good combination. And Rutgers is back within 7. There's a lot of Iowa fans here. A lot of yellow here at the rack tonight. They're not afraid of the snow. They're used to it in Iowa City. Look at this ball movement.
That's fantastic.
And Jock knocks down the 3. First points of the second half. 22 for Jock, 2 points away from tying his career high.
And we're talking about Jock, but that pass by Adam Woodbury
Great pass.
barely stayed in his hands a millisecond.
Outstanding offensive set from this Iowa offense. Sanders, good rotation. Lewis an open look. Daniels came flying in, but just couldn't corral it. You got to pick up Utah in transition. Laurent did a nice job of covering him. Then he lost him. Woodbury got the spin away from Lewis for the board.
I like this lineup for Iowa. It makes them longer when they have Peter Jock at the 2.
Woodbury, good patience, knocks down the 2. You add Dom Ewell into that mix. There's some of that length. Rutgers now trailing by 12. It's Iowa's largest lead of the night. And Eddie Jordan will take a timeout with 10:33 on the clock for this ball game. Iowa starting to put it together. The top 10 team on the road, hoping to avoid the letdown.
Shots. He is a very smart basketball player, a very good defender, underrated defender.
Yeah, A.J. Hammonds has size, and he's waiting in the paint for a lot of guys, and he's very good at it, too. I mean, you know, he's been phenomenal his entire career. But Utah is moving his feet, staying on the wing, and just raising that long arm up and getting blocks out of it. Out of bounds, a turnover. And it'll be Iowa basketball on the other side. Still working their largest lead of the game, but it doesn't.
If you need a reason to stop.
This is just for the barber shop. Not that I need a barber these days, but you know, when you're just shooting the breeze and you're talking about the top players, obviously we've got Jared Uthoff, Denzel Valentine, and Melo Trimble, who had a great game against Northwestern in overtime.
That's the big game coming up. Now, Iowa still has Purdue coming up this weekend, but that's a Sunday home game. Here's Jock. Knocks down the 3. Smooth-looking shot, and that's his 5th 3 of the game. And for Peter Jock, new career high. 25 points.
And then he gets his hand on that pass.
And here he comes. Couldn't finish, a little bit short, well defended by Foreman, at least getting back to the turn. Greer, good look for Laurent. Nicely done in the transition game by Rutgers there.
And it's nicely done, but Iowa's better than Rutgers at this game.
Yeah, they'll have fast pace, higher pace type game.
Absolutely. Oh, good fake.
That's a smooth move by Utah, and he draws the Foreman bump. Now, we were talking about some of your Player of the Year candidates. You're going to see both of them on display Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV. It's all part of Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic. Number 7, Maryland, will go on the road to East Lansing. Game day will be there. Coverage at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
Well, hopefully the game day crew can liven up the I-Zone. It's been rough over there for the last few games.
Hey, how about this Iowa team? They made it rough for them, too. They did it twice at home when Michigan State was number 1, and then they went on the road last week and knocked them off as well.
And I won't say they boat raced them, but they handed it to them at their place.
Williams missed the 3. So how about this? Iowa has Michigan State sitting at 2-0. They've beaten Purdue once, and they've got Purdue on Sunday at home. And then they get Maryland at the Xfinity Center. So the teams that are right at that top tier of the league right now, and I would include Indiana as well, which Iowa still has to play twice, they've got a chance to be 5-0 against those 4 teams with 2 more games against Indiana coming up. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And we're talking about Maryland Thursday. Iowa's going to take on Maryland at the Xfinity Center. You'll see Melo Trimble. Here's the matchup. Wendy's Wooden Award candidates, Trimble against Valentine.
Yeah, you know, I've told you, I'm looking forward to that game Thursday.
You and I will be there in College Park. Could be a top 10 game.
It could be.
And if Iowa doesn't falter.
If it ends up being a top 10 game, I might have to invite one of my relatives down there.
I think they might be interested in watching some good hoops.
Watching that game.
We were hoping to see him in D.C. this weekend. That's not going to be the case. Clemens half the people are like, I think I know who he's talking about, but I don't want to assume. Good move by Dom Ewell, his first points of the night. He's had some really good games as of late, but off the scoreboard most of the night tonight until then.
Now, and this score, the game doesn't feel like the score.
No, it really doesn't. Rutgers played much better than I think this score would indicate. But give credit to what the Hawkeyes have done here in the second half especially.
And it's been the zone. I thought it was going to be the trap for them, because that's what helped them pull away in the first half, was their 1-2-2 3/4 court trap. Now it's the length of the zone, just making it hard to get anything going.
Now I would argue the length in general probably for Iowa with some of these guys would make it tough. Utah banging his way to the rim, but
oh, they called a charge.
They called a charge on him, yeah. Oh, block and foul. I believe they just called a block in Purdue. So it's not easy on any night, but it's against the mid to bottom level teams in terms of the standing separation that are coming up for Iowa after this difficult stretch. And again, Indiana still looming on the Iowa schedule right now 2 times.
Well, you'll get a chance to get a feel for the fatigue factor for this tight lineup that Iowa has, because that's a lot of tough games, and your starting lineup's playing a lot of minutes.
How about Ahmad Wagner finishing strong at the rim, and Iowa is taking a 19-point lead. Rutgers has 6 days off. They'll go to Michigan on Wednesday. Then they have to play Michigan State to close out January. Things don't get much easier for this Rutgers lineup as Mike Williams hits a 3, and it's all part of the growing pains right now for those in Piscataway. Such high expectations, so many injuries. And as we've said, they've had a few games in Big Ten play where they played really well for a half and just can't last. Indiana, Ohio State, and I would say tonight against Iowa as well. Grabbed by Baer. Ewell. Now I'm still seeing Rutgers guys box out. I'm still seeing them jumping high, trying to muster whatever they can in terms of energy. It's at least good to see the pulse.
And you can feel it. And you talked about it a little earlier. At practice, good spirits, working hard, trying to get better. Everybody's trying to get better. And that's good to see, especially when you can't practice as hard as you really want to because you're so thin.
Ahmad Wagner with the block. Yeah, kind of a year of attrition for Eddie Jordan, right? That's what it kind of feels like this season.
Yeah.
Eddie's had to watch a lot of nights where the legs just aren't there in the second half. And a good play by Wagner there. Williams gets his legs for a 3, but can't connect. Love the effort from Lewis, and he looks like he landed awkwardly on an ankle or something because he's hopping around. Yep, injury timeout called by DJ Karstensen.
Well, they can't afford another front court guy. They can't afford anybody to be hurt.
No, not right now. So Lewis has to come out. DJ Foreman comes back in. So Lewis is going to get checked out at the end of the bench there for Rutgers.
And when Lewis goes out, they get really small.
Yeah. Yeah, size is not something that is a plenty without those 3 players that we talked about. Dorson being out right now with his injury. Freeman being out with his injury. Jallo out with his foot injury. And this is Lewis, who came down awkwardly. Immediately started hopping around on that left after the awkward landing on the right.
Yeah, it's just not Mike Gazelle's night. You see him miss a foul shot.
Nice pass to Loren. How about Corey Sanders, who leads this team in assists and steals and points, finding Jonathan Loren, who's got double figures and a steal here. You know what's tough to watch, though, for Rutgers is the fact that, man, if these guys were healthy, you wonder how well they would play, because look how well Loren's been playing tonight since coming back.
and still playing very unselfishly. I mean, you know, Corey Sanders isn't taking it upon himself to shoot every time. Mike Williams isn't taking it upon himself. They're still moving the ball around. And how you can tell a team's attitude and a team's spirit, you take a look at their bench. When they make a good play, the guys on the bench are clapping.
We've been around this group a couple times. They are a group that likes each other, and a lot of the talk around Piscataway is if these guys can come back healthy next year, it's going to be a group that's been together and a large group that's been together for at least a year or two. You know, there'll be a lot of sophomores going into their junior year, a lot of freshmen going into their sophomore year. You just get the sense that this could be a team. I'm not saying they're going to compete for a Big Ten title, but it's a team that could at least, like, look what Nebraska's doing this year. A lot of people were kind of down on them early in the season, and yet they come out, they play well in games. They beat this Rutgers team pretty badly. I mean, they played well against Michigan State, obviously, last night, and they can beat teams like a Michigan State, like in Iowa. They jumped out on Iowa, actually, earlier this season. So you get the sense that a lot of people believe that here in Piscataway.
And Sanders is not only going to be a better player next year, he's going to be a better leader.
This guy's the highest rated recruit for Rutgers since Mike Rosario, the All-American, McDonald's All-American, who came here and then eventually went to Florida. Top 70 player. There's Mike Williams. You know, a good sign for him is he's knocking down some threes. He hasn't shot well from three-point range this season. Jock draws a foul on the floor against Williams. Corey Sanders didn't like the call. He's telling Donnie Epley about it. That's 9 team fouls, so the last 1-and-1 opportunity before the double balls.
And you know, you add Nigel Johnson to this crew. I mean, you and I have seen him at practice. That kid can play. He can score. He can shoot from outside. He's got the athleticism to defend the likes of a Mike Gazelle or Anthony Clemens. No, the horizon is bright. You just got to get there.
New athletic director came in this season for Rutgers. Pat Hobbs, a very basketball-minded athletic director. They're working on the facilities, and that's the biggest topic of conversation at Rutgers. You got to get facilities that can match up here in the Big Ten, as Greer knocks down a long two. I mean, Iowa's got a great practice facility. They sell out their home court when the students are there more often than not. That's been a trend in Iowa City for a while now, selling out Carver Hawkeye, and that's become a good home court. Nebraska's got maybe you can argue they've got the best facilities in the league. They're brand new. No shot, foul on the floor, says John Gaffney. Chrysler Center's great. His own, when it is alive and well, is awesome. Illinois just revamped the State Farm Center, so they're playing in a solid building right now.
And more and more these days, when you are recruiting high major kids to your school, they've got a checklist, and on that checklist is facilities, very close to the top.
Another three, and Rutgers is within single digits. Omari Greer, and the rack comes alive. Silencer by Peter Jock. When you need a big shot, he's been available tonight, adding on to his career high.
And that down screen, cross screen for a low post shot. Whenever they need a basket, that's what they run.
Sanders a three, left it short. Well, you felt like if that shot goes down, then all of a sudden Rutgers is cooking with some gas, but inside of 4.
And that's like a 10-point shot. You look like you're down 10, and you just, I got to make
like,
this.
Oh, if I make this, we're right there, yeah. Hard to battle that, right?
It is, especially for a younger player.
Peter Jock under the rim, got it knocked away. 3:20 to play. Sanders, the step through, everything but the finish. And then Woodbury got fouled by Laurent. And that'll take us to a timeout.
Too bad for Sanders. Learned his lesson after that first one, took it to the basket on the next one.
10-point game, 3:14 to go. You're going to need to watch Craig, first one that sticks out to me, obviously Kentucky, Kansas big, but North Carolina, Louisville. I've been talking with a lot of fans about North Carolina and how high their talent level is. Obviously, one of the most talented teams in the country. But they haven't really had that signature big conference win yet against the ACC. It's been a little bit of a soft schedule. A little bit of a soft schedule.
They'll be playing that game healthy. Kennedy Meeks is back, and now Bryce Johnson is coming to his own.
Man, he's playing so well, maybe as good as anybody in the ACC right now. Bryce Johnson, double-double after double-double. What do you have, 39 and 23 in that big Monday game against Florida State?
Karl Malone-esque game.
Yeah. Adam Woodbury has a double-double. That's his third of the season.
But
He's got 10 and 10.
Duke, Miami, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Why do you like that one?
I like Miami at home.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's going to be a sellout.
Yeah.
They've sold out Bank United Center this season. First time in a long time that any Miami sport has sold out their season tickets. There's Laurent working inside, draws the foul. You and I saw Miami earlier this year. Veteran, you know, a lot of like this Iowa team, veteran and can be a high-scoring team on any given night.
Yes, long, athletic, but can make shots and can defend. And long and athletic has given Duke problems this season, especially at the forward with Emil Jefferson out. I mean, you know, we talk about injuries here with Rutgers. That's a big one for the Duke Blue Devil team.
I just haven't seen the defense from Duke that I typically see, the slap the floor every possession type defense from them this season. And pressure here from Rutgers, and still a 10-point lead for Iowa. 2:47 to play, trying to finish one off on the road. Rutgers has played a great game to make it tough on a top 10 team.
Rutgers getting a little taste of their own medicine with the full court pressure.
Still going at it. Now finally Gazelle comes to it.
And you know, the fans out there might be wondering, well, why the heck haven't they been doing this all game? Well, the lineup is such that if they play like that all game, they wouldn't be in this position. They wouldn't be this close.
They'd be gassed 20 minutes in. There's that tough step back from Utah. Love seeing that.
He's so stoic. You can't tell. I wouldn't play cards with that guy.
No, you can't read a poker face off Jared Utah. Oh, that would have been a big shot for Williams, and Utah's right there. I asked Fran McCaffrey today, have you seen a change at all in Utah? And he goes, no. He's been the same guy from day one since I've had him. Consistent, even-keeled.
Yeah.
You never see any emotion on Utah's face during a game. Very rarely do you see him get frustrated at all. Well, Woodbury had some space, comes flying in with the left hand. Easy too.
I tell you, that guy, Adam Woodbury, has a lot of nice little touch shots around the basket. And he's the most vocal on defense. You see him out there pointing where to go.
Woo, Laurent, nice finish. Good night for Laurent tonight. 5th time he's been in double figures this season.
Particularly coming off the concussion.
65 ticks for this one. Belmont, Tennessee Martin are coming up next. Good OVC action coming your way. Don't forget, we got Gonzaga St. Mary's in West Coast Conference play tonight. That's the game that you always have to be ready for. You want to watch Gonzaga St. Mary's. St. Mary's the only team in the country with a better assist to turnover than Iowa.
And those guys are efficient offensively. Watching those guys execute their offense is a treat.
Nice finish by Clemens. Good finish to this game by the Hawkeyes. 14-point lead with a half minute to go. Sanders, no good. Ooh. Hey, let's give Rutgers a lot of credit tonight. They could have folded up after a 50-point home loss. They played really well against a top 10 team. Iowa pulled away as a lot of people expected them. And probably Fran McCaffrey lit into them. And that's, you got the sense that that's what he said at halftime.
Very tough for Rutgers to keep up that pace from the first half and the second half. But their spirit is there. Their energy was there. They just don't have the personnel at this point in time. But I got to tell you, Adam, I'm really impressed with this Iowa Hawkeye team.
They got Purdue on Sunday. They've got Maryland on the road next Thursday. But Fran McCaffrey's Iowa Hawkeyes are 6-0 in Big Ten play. First time since 1987. The Hawkeyes start a season 6-0 in the Big Ten. 3 players had 20 or more tonight in a 90-76 win. We'll have more from the rack in just a bit. For now, Fitzy back.